So as you can see, the difference I have between half of the back measurement and quarter of the chest circumference measurement is not much. I will be adding extra inches to the chest measurement, but if we don't add to this measurement, this little measurement we have here is not enough for the armhole. It will be very tight. So for this reason, I will be adding extra value on the chest level. Irrespective of the measurement you have on your chest level, you must add extra value to the measurement in order to have ease around the armpit area. So from the armhole line, don't forget, from the center front to this point is half of the back measurement. So from this point, you must have up to 2 inches in order to construct the armhole. So what do I mean by this? From the point you will be constructing your armhole, you must have up to 2 inches. So from half of the back measurement point, I will just mark out my 2 inches point. Please take note of this. I took the measurement from the armhole line point, not from the quarter of the chest measurement I measured out. Okay, so I decided to do it this way so that you will not have issue constructing your armhole for all body sizes. So with this, all you need to know is from the armhole line, you must have up to 2 inches point to construct your armhole. So that's just it, as simple as that. So whatsoever you have as half of the back measurement, from the half of the back measurement, just make sure you have up to 2 inches. So this is the point I will be constructing my armhole, the 2 inches point. Okay, then I will pick my armhole curve ruler, then I will be connecting the 3 points together. This is point 1, point 2, and point 3. So guys, after constructing the armhole, the next step is to construct the side seam. In constructing the side seam, this can be achieved in 2 ways. Okay, the first way is by constructing your side seam on a straight line. That is if you want your shirt to be very free. But if you want to make a fitted shirt, then your connection must be from the chest level to the waist level first, then from the waist level to the shirt length. And I will be showing you how to achieve these 2 methods now. If you want to have your side seam on a straight line, that means you are constructing a free shirt. Okay, so in doing this, all you need to do is to take the measurement you have on the chest level. So here I have 11 inches. Then you just place the measurements on the shirt length line. Then you take your straight ruler and connect the 2 points together. So with this, you will have your side seam on a perfect straight line, and your shirt is going to be a free shirt. So this is the first way in which you can construct your side seam. So the second method is by shaping the side seam, which will result in having a fitted shirt. So if you want to make this type of a shirt, you will need to insert the waist circumference measurement on the waist level. And this is very simple. So this is what I usually do. I don't take the measurements on my clients. I make use of the measurement I have on the chest level. The chest circumference measurement I'm working with is 37 inches. So I will just subtract 2 inches from the measurement. So whatever you have as the chest circumference measurement, just subtract 2 inches from that measurement, then divide whatever you have left by 4. Now the chest circumference measurement I'm working with is 37 inches. So if I subtract 2 inches from 37 inches, I have 35 inches left. So 35 divided by 4 gives me 8.75. So which means on the waist level, I will insert 8.75. So I have it here. Then I will just round this up to 9 inches. Then from the chest level, I will connect to the waist level. Don't forget, the value I have here is not the chest circumference measurement. So this is part of the ease that has been added on the chest level. So if you want to have a free shirt, that is when you can connect this downward. The subtraction is going to be from the chest circumference measurement you are working with, not from the measurement you have on the chest level. So I'm making use of my very firm curve. So this part is not on a straight line, though it's not that much curvy, but it is not on a straight line because the side is not on a straight line. So I'm not using a straight ruler. So now I have this constructed. So the next step is to construct from the waist level to the shirt length. So in doing this, I will insert the hip circumference measurement on the shirt length. So this is where the hip circumference measurement is needed. So the hip circumference measurement I'm working with plus ease is 40 inches. So plus ease means I've taken the measurement with ease. So 40 inches divided by 4 gives me 10 inches. So on the shirt length, I will be inserting 10 inches. Then for this, from the waist point to the shirt length, I will be connecting with a straight ruler. So guys, now I have this done. The side seam has been constructed, so you can choose any of the two for yourself. So guys, now the next step is to shape the hemline of a shirt. You can either have the hemline of your shirt on a straight line or give it a kind of interesting look. So I don't want the hemline of the shirt to be on a straight line. So in shaping the hemline of my shirt, I will come to the shirt length line. So from the side seam I choose, I will measure 1 inch upward. Okay, then I will get the midpoint of my hemline. So which is here. Then I will be shaping the hemline like so. So here is the curve ruler I'm using in shaping the hemline, like so. So I will position my curve ruler as if I want to connect the 2 points together, this 1 inch point and the midpoint I have on the hemline. So in this case, my connection will not get to the midpoint. So my connection will not get to the midpoint. So when it is about 1 or 1.5 inches to get to the midpoint, I will stop. Then I will flip my curve ruler over. So this is going to be in an opposite direction. In this case, the curvy part of my curve ruler is facing towards the lower part of my pattern. So, and the most curvy part around here, so which is the head of my curve ruler, is going to be on the center front, like so. So in this case, I want to have a smooth connection from the curve I just drew out to the center front point, like this. So after constructing this, I will have something like an S shape. So you can see what I have now. So this is connecting properly. So now I have this. So this is a new shape for my shirt hemline. Then I'll cross out the straight line. So after shaping the hemline, then I can add my hem allowance. But I will not be adding my hem allowance yet. So when I'm ready to add my seam allowances all around my pattern, then I will be adding my hem allowance. Now to the shoulder line, I will be reducing the measurement I have on the shoulder line, because the front shirt pattern is usually shorter than the back shirt pattern. So I will be reducing the front shirt pattern by 1.5 inches. So in doing this, from this point, which is a 1.5 inches point I measured out in slanting the shoulder, don't forget I told you what I have here. This is no more the shoulder line, and all these are not part of our pattern. So from this point, I will measure 1.5 inches downward. So I'm taking this measurement on a straight line. So the straight line I draw out, which I called the armhole line. So I will mark 1.5 inches. Then on the neck width point, from the center front to this point is a neck width measurement I used in constructing the neckline. So from the neck width point as well, I will measure the same 1.5 inches downward. So which is here. Then I will connect the 2 points together. Okay guys, now I have the new shoulder line drafted out for the front panel. Then I label this as the front shoulder line. As you can see, from this point to this point is 1.5 inches, and from this point to this point as well is 1.5 inches. Then I connected the 2 points together. So I drew out a straight line which I extended to the neckline curve. You can see what I have here. Then I label this as the front shoulder line. So which means this line is no more the front shoulder line. So this is the new front shoulder line. Okay guys, now that I have all this done, the next step is to add my seam allowances all around my front panel. On the neckline area, I will be adding a seam allowance of 1/2 inch. On the shoulder line, I will add 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So this is going to be from the new shoulder line, not the old one. So from the new shoulder line I drew out, I will take this up by 1/2 inch. So this is the seam allowance needed in joining the front and the back panels together. Then on the armhole, I will be adding 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Then by the side, I will add 0.75 of seam allowance. So this is the seam I'm using, the side seam I'm making use of. So I will cross out the straight line. I don't want to use the straight line. So for this, I will be adding my seam allowance of 0.75. Then on the shirt length, which is the hemline, I will follow the new shape I just drew out for my shirt hemline. I will be adding 1 inch of seam allowance. So you don't need much of seam allowance when making a button down shirt. So guys, now I have my seam allowances added all around my front shirt pattern. I added 1/2 inch on the neckline, 1/2 inch on the shoulder line, on the armhole, 0.75 by the side, and 1 inch on the hemline. Now I can proceed in cutting out my front shirt pattern. In cutting out my pattern, I will not be cutting on the shoulder line yet. I will cut on the starting point line I drew out, so which is the starting point of my pattern. Then I will cut on the remaining part of my pattern. I will be cutting on the seam allowances line. So I'm doing this because I will be using the front panel as a template in drafting the back panel. So guys, this is what I have after cutting out my pattern. Okay, so here is a placket allowance I folded inward. So for the upper part, when I'm done drafting the back panel, so that is when I will cut out the neckline and the shoulder line.